Well, what's going on, family? It is the middle of the week, better known as Hump Day to a lot of folks. 100 BLK, the Black Station. You can catch us at www.the100blk.com. And of course, every Wednesday is Wellness Wednesday because your mental health matters. And a healthy you is a better you. Brother Brown, how you doing on this evening, sir?
My brother. How are you, brother Dupree?
Man, listen, it's just a blessing to wake up. Of course, we're still in the middle of a pandemic. Numbers are breaking records daily, but it seems to
Daily.
be that this Omicron variant is not as deadly as the Delta variant. So we
Just
can
more
be thank
contagious.
we can thank be thankful for that. But I think a lot of people are now dealing with what I call the side effects of COVID, the body aches, the
Hmm.
fatigue, the
The sniffles, and the
right, right. The ability to not do what they could do because now we're studying this is what is after you overcome COVID. This is what your body has to adjust to the new normal. So,
absolute.
so with that being said, we always have a great conversation about mental health because your mental health matters. We want you to be holistically well. So blessed to have my good brother here,
Hey
brother
man, like
Edward
I remember
Brown.
old guy used to tell me, man. I used to say it's good to see you. He used to say it's good to be seen.
Yes,
You know,
sir.
so
Yes, sir.
that's how I feel, brother Dupree. It's just good to be seen.
So we are on here to have the conversation about mental health. We're going to talk about tonight something that I post constantly. I kind of coined this saying back in the days. People who know me, I laughingly, because of a brother I used to work with, tell people I'm Mr. 25/8. I need an extra hour and an extra day. And I'm
Yeah.
Mr. Tell a friend to tell a friend. But also, I am the brother who always reminds you that everybody in your circle
Mm, mm, mm.
may not necessarily be in your corner. With that
Whew.
being said, Brother Brown, the floor is yours.
Man, listen, I believe that if we're going to truly address mental health, we have to start taking a couple of things serious. The law of physics, energy is a real thing. And people have a tendency to bring energy and take energy. In the
Mm,
therapeutic world, we call it transference and countertransference. We give and we take something from every interaction. Today, I want us to talk about looking around, looking in your circle, and find out what are you receiving and what is being taken from you.
wow.
Because we have a tendency to not understand, and this is real. We're gonna get clinical today. This is things people do not realize. You ever wonder why, when you leave certain people, you feel drained, you
Mm,
feel tired?
mm,
Those people just took every bit of energy you had for that interaction. Now, the part that's going to really get you going is when you have to look at these people and evaluate their relationship in your life. Because some of these people may be family, co workers, friends, neighbors, people you grew up with from the time you was little.
wow.
Tonight, we're going to talk about making sure that people deposit positivity into you and that you eliminate the depletion of your energy. We
Wow.
have to be able to look and say, I am not going to allow this person, this situation to deplete my energy because it's real. You know, we'll sit around, we'll wake up, and Brother Dupree, you might say, boy, this shirt fitting kind of good. I might have lost a few pounds, and you may feel good about yourself.
Correct.
And come across that person that within 5 minutes of your exchange with them, all of your energy, we call it our mood,
Hmm.
your energy has changed. And
Energy
sometimes,
vampires.
sometimes those people are close to us. They may be family. And we have a tendency to feel an obligation to allow that person to feed off of us. in 2022, we are going to hold true to that statement that you have to take care of you. And tonight we're going to look at the issue of allowing energy to be given and energy to be taken.
Wow.
So the first thing we're going to look at is we're going to use a few metaphors. And one of the metaphors is you're a full you, you're whole. You're not a half of a person. You're not a quarter of a person. That's why when we do couples therapy, or when I do couples therapy, I tell people one of the greatest myths ever created is that a relationship is 50-50. A relationship is 100-100 because you do not come in 50% of a person. You go into it 100%. That's why it's so difficult, taking 200s and trying to make 100. So we have a give and a take process. We have certain types of people in society. We have users, we have takers, and then we have givers and sharers. If you find a situation to where every time you are a part of that situation, every time you engage with this organization, this group, this individual, you find yourself depleted, you really need to reevaluate that situation. You need to relook at it. Now, the reason I say that is let's start at a smaller or at a younger stage. You definitely need to be aware of who your children are interacting with. Because children are blank, dry erase boards. And you need to be very conscious of who's writing on that board.
Wow.
I used to tell people all the time, growing up in the city of New Orleans, my grandmother, grandfather, and mother and father were more of an impact than what was going on the streets of New Orleans. Because I wanted to be out there now. I wanted to be where my friends were, but I knew that the last person I wanted to deal with was Gail Brown.
Yeah.
You know, so they were more of an influence on me. They wrote more on me than the streets of New Orleans did. So
Brother Brown.
Yes.
So Brother Brown, let me pause you right there and let me ask the question. Should then and I know we're talking about energy takers and energy givers, should we then very much understand the importance of the family and the family structure, even though sometimes mama might not be in the house, daddy might not be in the house, it might be two mamas in the house, it might be two daddies in the house. I'll let you continue, sir.
Well, that's where we start talking about traditional and non-traditional roles. You know, you may have a man in the house who's the cooker, who does the cooking. He does the nurturing. And mama may be the breadwinner, which is a non-traditional household. Non-traditional households, I'm gonna be honest with you, you know, when we look at systems theory, non-traditional households change after, I'd say, the late 70s, early 80s, because the socioeconomic conditions change. We went through Reaganomics. And then the issue of having a single income household was no more. Mom was outside the family working and dad was outside the family working. So there was some role, changes. Dad got home first. He may be the one cooking and helping with the homework. Mama got home later. So at the end of the day, think about it like this, Brother Dupree. So if that changed, what happened to the children and who was writing on the children? Who was creating or entering or dumping energy into our children or taking energy out of our children?
Wow.
You understand? Because as the parent and the family dynamics changed, so did the development of the individual psyche. It all changed. So now we're looking at the development of the child's ability to give energy and receive energy. And then we move into young adulthood, and then we move into where we are in midlife crisis, or not crisis, just in midlife.
Okay.
So we look at the struggles of our children today. That's because they do not know how to receive negative energy and cut it off. Now, Brother Dupree, we can talk about that. Remember when there was that little boy and your mama said, you know what? I don't want you playing with that little boy no more.
Right.
And you like,
right.
well, Mama, that's why I don't care who or what I don't want you around that little boy. And for the life of us, we couldn't understand why. Mother saw, or father saw the energy that was being put into you. And they did not want that in their child. But the difference was, parents were not afraid to rear their children's direction. You know what I mean? Because
I get it.
Whether were unhappy or whether we were not pleased wasn't important. I remember my mom used to say something that as a kid, I used to be like, what is she? My mom used to say, I know you don't want to do it, but do it anyway. It builds character. And I was
right,
like,
because I said so.
You know,
because I said so.
You know, do it. I know you don't want to do it. Do it anyway. It builds character. And by the time I'm 7, 8, 9 years old, I'm like, who is this character person? And why do I care if he builds or not? You know? But then think about it like this. Oh, Brother Dupree, this is some good stuff.
Come on.
I tell people all the time, what's the difference between a leader and a follower? A leader is the person that's willing to do things other people don't want to do. So now, how many times do we have children who grow up to be adults that don't want to do the things, you know, that they should do? Now I'm gonna take a moment out to tell you the thing I'm dealing with right now. As an instructor, I just came from a situation where I had a student that didn't like her grade.
Okay.
Now, I'll tell you this, she earned a D, but she was 2 points short of a C, and I gave her the 2 points.
Okay.
She was unhappy with
great grace and mercy.
Yeah, well, she was unhappy with the C.
Wow.
Okay. Well, she wasn't. There was 4 assignments. She did 2. 1 she didn't do. She got a 0. The second, the fourth one, she turned in at the end of the semester, so I only gave her half credit.
Okay.
So you got a 0 and half credit, and she wasn't happy. In the middle of our conversation, I'm saying, well, I think this is a teachable moment. I think that we can, well, I don't know how old you, but I don't like this teachable moment thing you're saying. I'm like, wait a minute. You're a student. I'm an instructor. Every interaction we have is a teachable moment.
Correct.
One of the things I was happy, she was one of those overindulged students. So her thing was, well, I'm leaving Alcorn. Well, what I wanted to say was, wherever you go, you're taking the same problems with you.
Right.
Because I gave you what you earned, I really didn't. So when we start looking at, I'm pretty sure if we were able to go farther back, she's been catered to and given more than she's earned. And I maybe have perpetuated into that by giving her that seat. But what we have to look at is our children have to be led and guided by our life experiences.
Correct.
We have to. Because I had another conversation and another example where this was many years ago. And I was around a young lady who was at the time maybe 13. And I didn't like the way she was talking to her grandma. So she had like a 1-year-old sister. And I asked her, I said, let me ask you something. Do you think there's anything that this 1-year-old know more about than you at 13? No, I know I'm smarter than her. Then why do you think you know more than your 70-year-old grandmother? What makes you think you know more about anything than her? We are not willing to exchange the energy with our young people at the early age so that when they go into young adulthood, they have the ability to identify negative energy versus energy that fills me up versus energy that takes away from me and depletes me.
Wow.
So who deals with that? We deal with that as individuals that interact with them in society. They don't have the skills that they need to identify that. So where do we go from childhood into young adulthood? In identifying that energy. Here's the difference.
Come on, talk to me.
Yeah, when they're young, they're unhappy. You understand? If you control their energy form, they're unhappy.
Right.
When they get into young adulthood, they're in danger. You see the difference in how that energy changes?
That's deep.
Yeah.
That's deep.
When they're young and children, and you control that, I don't want you with that little boy. No, you can't go there. No, I'm not letting you go to this sleepover. I don't know those people. That's just you controlling the energy that they're exposed to. Now they're young adults, and you don't have any control because they're making their own decisions. So instead of them being unhappy as children, now they're in danger. Their lives are literally being jeopardized. You know your friend got a big mouth, and you running, going to the parties with him, and y'all end up fighting, and next thing you know, these kids are not fighting today, they're shooting, and they're killing.
Correct.
So now we've looked at the cycle of how energy impacts the life of a child, how it impacts the life of a young adult, because now they're making their own decisions and it's causing them to put their lives in jeopardy. So let's say, because we're moving through this whole life cycle, let's say they make it to middle age. So you will say, Brother Dupree, well, look like they made it. Look like they made it. Well, not exactly.
Talk to me.
Well, because now, remember, they're unhappy as children because you're controlling the energy. But now they're adults and young adults, they're controlling the energy they let come in and the energy they let go out. So therefore, sometimes they're putting themselves in danger. Now, you grown and you parents. Guess what you're doing now? Now you're passing on that energy to your children. You're passing it on, and you're doing what they used to call trickle down effect.
Okay.
You're planning your coping skills and or lack of into young adults and to children. So they say, what they don't do what I do as I say.
Correct.
Exactly. So imagine I see you allowing someone to misuse you, to deplete your energy. What do you think I'm learning from you, Brother Dupree? That must be what we do.
Right. That's what. Right.
That's what we do.
Bookmark that. And family, right now, if you're listening, you're sharing this with a friend. Big ups to everybody who's on. We have shared this with a great deal of different platforms. But thank you for everybody who's on. Big up to my girl Rhonda who's on. Listen, if right now you're saying, look, I need some mental health counseling, and that shouldn't be a taboo word. You might need someone to talk to. Let's just break it down and call it what it is. Especially we as people of color. Many times we need somebody to talk to, and we don't know where to go and talk to them, or somebody who can hear it from our perspective, digest it because they look like us, been through what we've been through, grew up in the same neighborhoods that we went through, and dealt with the same life experiences. I highly recommend Positive Choices. Now, if you're in the state of Louisiana, they have 3 locations, one in Vidalia, Louisiana, one in Jonesville, Louisiana, and another one right here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Now, I'm going to throw up here the website right quick so you can catch it. It's positivechoicescounseling.org. Listen, if you need a medical psychologist, child adolescents, or adult board certified specialists to help with mental health problems, licensed mental health professional counselors, qualified mental health professionals, and qualified independent living skill counselors, these are the people you need to see, and so much more. So once again, I infer that you go to the website, check them out. You'll find out what insurances they take. You'll find out if you don't have insurance, how they can still take care of you. And my brother Brown here does an excellent job, him and his staff. And they do telehealth. I'm just trying to make sure I don't leave anything out.
Hey, you covered it. You covered it.
So family, I highly recommend that before you put yourself in a situation that there's slow singing and flower bringing because someone decided to take their own life, or they felt like they were all alone and had no one to listen to. And people can feel that way. I don't say this in a joking manner. I understand there are billions, and I forgot what the number is, but there are billions of people on this planet. But you might feel like even though there's billions of people on this planet, you all by yourself. But Positive Choices Counseling Services is here to talk you through mental health counseling and to help you out. And even if you need medication, they have psychologists on call that they can help from the holistic perspective of mental health. So with that being said, we're going to continue the conversation, and everybody in your circle may not be in your corner, and the energy that are being given out, there's people giving energy, positive, good energy, and there's people taking energy, and it's good, bad, and everything in between. So back to Brother Brown.
And in that discussion, one of the things, Brother Dupree, that people say, well, that's my family or that's my friend. And I don't want to seem like I don't want to be around them. And here's the thing. It's okay to put you first. It's okay to do self-preservation is in all of us. It's actually in all of us. It's okay for you to say, this does not benefit me. This does not make me a better me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to limit myself in how much I allow to be taken from me at the end of the day. I'm going to limit how much negative energy I allow to be put into me. I'm going to limit how much I allow to be taken from me without there being, some putback. Because we have a tendency to feel very guilty when we take care of ourselves. I know people, man, that make tons of money and refuse to buy themselves something because they feel guilty. I just feel guilty if I spend money on myself. I feel guilty if I go and relax and watch a movie by myself, because they're gonna, why you didn't take me? Why I couldn't go with you? Well, maybe I just needed to rejuvenate.
Right.
And the number one point I want us to take from this conversation tonight is it's okay to put yourself first. Well, I got things to take care of. What's going to happen to those things when you fall?
Right.
What happens to those things when you break down? Those things, and one of my friends told me the other day, he said, I have a 72-hour rule. I said, what's the 72-hour rule? He said, I done convinced myself that if I die on the job, it's going to be 72 hours before they put my position online trying to hire somebody else. I was like, wow, I never thought about it. He said, it's 72 hours before they start looking for somebody to replace you. So there is nothing wrong with self-preservation. So that's the first thing. It's okay to put yourself first. The second thing is, shouldn't you be kind to yourself?
Come on.
Shouldn't we be good to ourselves? I'm in the middle of writing a chapter right now that talks about if I'm not good to myself, how do I expect other people to treat me good? Let me tell you something about people who take. Okay? People who take, they know they're takers. They know that they are takers. And if they know they're takers and you allow them to constantly deplete you and take you, you know what they say? It must be all right with you. So if it's all right with you, I'm going to keep doing it. The minute you say it's not okay, it's not okay. I'm tired of being taken advantage of. I'm tired of this exchange of negative energy. Here's a question for you, Dupree, my brother Dupree. You're in radio. Okay? You're in radio. You go to a party, they hire you to be a DJ.
Okay.
You go to the party.
Come on.
Everybody looking, they ready.
All right.
Here we go. And all you play is Sade music all night long.
Oh.
Wait now. All night long. That's all you play. And they sitting there looking and they waiting and they waiting. And it never comes. And before you know it, everybody gonna be sitting back.
Right.
They'll be leaning on the table.
Right.
Some of them might be nodding off.
Correct.
At some point, you have to put some energetic music on. You have to energize the party.
Correct.
There's no different in our interpersonal communication. You have that person. When we see you, Brother Dupree, every Wednesday and other times when we together in Lafayette, when we see each other, the first thing we be like, "Oh, what's up?"
Oh,
it's never
what's
like,
happening?
Hey,
hey, what's up?
It's
You're
never
right.
that
You're
way.
right. You're
It's
right.
always like, "Hey, Brother Dupree, what's going on, man? Look, what?" And that's the energy we exchange.
Correct.
Now, I do have people that every time I see them, I already know how it's gonna go. "Hey, man, what's up?" "Man, look." You know, and I'm like, "Oh," you know, I'm like, "Here we go." "Man, look, you just, if I had your hand, I'd throw mine in." It's just,
Oh yeah.
Oh man. And I always say to myself, all the time, every time I see you, at some point, I'm gonna limit my exposure to that.
Correct.
And I have no guilt about it. I have no guilt about it. So when we start going back and recapping on this stuff, we talking about our children. I don't want my children hanging out. "Oh, you think you uppity?" No, that's not it. I just know the type of energy I want my children to exchange.
And the people they want to be, you want to have them around.
And the people I want them around, and I don't feel guilty about that.
All right.
Boy, but now here's that subject we about to touch on, and we kind of threw it out there, and I just saw it just went past, but I'm gonna bring it back. What do you do when that's family? What do you do when the negative energy or the drainers are family?
Wow. Okay, good question. What do we do?
Right? I get it's okay to put self first, even with family. It's okay. It's okay to put, okay, all right. Well, let's go it on. We're gonna keep it real today, right? Let's keep it real.
Keep it real.
If you have family and every time you go out, should you have to pay, Brother Dupree?
No, you shouldn't.
Every time, if it was 10 times, every time you go out, they put their hands in the pocket, their hands in their pocket, not to pull out their wallet when the check comes.
No. that shouldn't happen. That shouldn't happen. In my humble opinion, let me get on screen where people can see my face on this one. When in my humble opinion, no, not every time.
Every time?
You know, people have to understand people's circumstances. Don't get me wrong. if you've got it and you're able to do it some of the times and you feel like being generous and being a blessing to other folks, then yeah, I get that. But
But are you
every
obligated?
time,
Are you
right?
obligated? Are you
Yeah,
obligated? I'm
no,
not
no, you
obligated.
should. No,
It's
I'm not
something I
obligated.
choose to do.
Right, it's my choice. Right,
It's my choice. So if I choose not to, that's me taking care of me.
correct.
You can't be angry, unhappy. Yeah, so he don't. Well, it's okay. And even if it's family, and too often we sit into these dysfunctional, energy draining relationships because we feel as though we have to.
Well, and let's just be real. A lot of times people don't know everything that's going on behind the veil. I always call it the Wizard of Oz effect. You
Mm-hmm.
might see the glimmer, the lights. You
The
might,
bells and
but
whistles and the
right,
smoke. Yeah.
right. But you don't know what's going on behind the curtain. You don't, or better yet, you don't know what it took for me to get to where I'm at. And a lot of folks don't get that. They say, "Oh, you acting different." No, I'm not acting different. You don't know what I had to sacrifice to get to where I'm at. One of the biggest problems I have with people, and since this is a conversation about mental health, because this affects so many people's mental health, is when other folks try to count your money. I try to tell you, if I were you and I was doing this, this is where I would live. This is what I would drive. This is what I would do. Well, maybe that's not what I like. I tell people all the time, your blessings is not predicated on what you got. If you don't like certain things, but to other folks, for example, if I don't like certain designer clothes, me getting those designer clothes is not a blessing or a joy to me. But if you look at me and say, well, the only way I can look at you as a successful person, you got to wear this type of clothes and drive this type of car and live in this type of house. That might not be what I want.
Yeah. I tell you, if I was you, but you're not. That's what I tell you. There's a couple of things that when people always say, man, if I was you, but you're not. You're not. I appreciate where you was about to go, but you're not. That's one thing. And when people say, man, I hate to tell you this, then don't. Before they get it, then don't. Don't. I don't want to hear. If you hate to tell me, then don't. Because at some point, I have gotten to the point in my life where I'm okay and I have no remorse or guilt about protecting me. I protect me as much as I need to in order for me to be a better me. And too often, we allow ourselves to be abused, taken advantage of, drained, filled with this negative energy. And the reason we don't do anything about it is because of who these individuals are, and we don't want to feel guilty. So in turn, we suffer. That's not okay. And I'm going to challenge everybody in 2022 to put yourself first. And here's an example. This is just another metaphor. When you're on an airplane and they tell you if that oxygen drops down, put the mask on yourself first.
Come on.
Before you help anybody else. Now, Brother Dupree, we all like, wait a minute now. My baby's sitting right here. I'm going to make sure my baby mask on first. And what happens when you pass out?
Right. Then you and the baby don't have a
mask.
You
and the baby don't make it.
Right.
So we have to start looking at self-preservation, allowing ourselves to be the best us by limiting how much of other people's energy, trash, garbage we allow to be pumped into us.
Correct.
So we sit here and we have these Wednesday night conversations. And at the end of the day, we're putting it out there because we want individuals to be a better them.
Right.
Take this information, apply it, and you may have to have a talk with that person that you love dearly that drains you. Say, can we talk for a minute? I love you. Lord knows I love you. But I can't continue to allow myself to be drained because one day there may not be any replenishing. And then what happens to me? You know, because what you find about a user is when the person take everything you got and there ain't nothing left, guess what they do?
They gone.
They gone. They move on to somebody else.
They find somebody else to use.
So now
they
you
find somebody else to
caring
use.
about them, trying to, and all the while they gone.
Hey, and watch this. I want y'all to think about this. Many of you witnessed on Monday the national championship where Georgia played Alabama. And I would encourage anybody, because it's going viral. But after the game, there was part of the press conference
Nick Saban,
where Nick Saban, you know, like Nick or don't like Nick, you got to applaud what Nick did.
What he did, that's incredible.
They were very much criticizing the gameplay of his players, and they were getting ready to dismiss them. And he said, "Hold on, may I say something
before y'all go?" Yeah.
Before we go. And he made it crystal clear. Yes, we lost the game. Yes, they take responsibility for the loss. However, we would have never had the opportunity to lose
if it wasn't for them. That's right.
If it wasn't for them. See, so I hope people who saw that learned this important thing. That even in the midst of defeat, you don't have to be defeated. And you can give positive reinforcement to encourage folks to continue to move on and have a greater expectation for what is to come than what is passed on. You know, right there, he made it crystal clear. If these guys plan on staying, they've done a great job. They will continue to do a great job. And this is just one loss. It's a hurting loss. We're responsible for the loss, but it does not negate all the good. Albert Einstein did the same thing. He did his timetables. I posted this not too very long ago. He did his timetables on the board. All were right except one. Everybody began to laugh and giggle. It lets you know people will forget all your good work and concentrate on and remember that one mistake. You know, so back to you, Brother Brown.
That's human behavior. It is easier for us to point out one weakness than 99 strengths.
Right.
It's just much easier, you know. And there's the Rockshire test where you can have a whole black board with one white spot on it. Your eyes will focus on that one white spot. If you reverse it, you got a white board with one little black dot. Your eyes are going to be drawn to that one little black dot, not how white the rest of the board is. So we have a tendency, and we have to start to look at what is our little dot, and how do we not allow it to be that hindrance for us being the best us we can be. What do we do? We accept that nobody's perfect. I have my flaws, you have your flaws. But it does not mean that I'm not a good person. I had a gentleman, and this brother did 40 years in jail.
40.
40.
40.
He had life. But he got out because there's this new initiative where if you were given life in prison as a teenager, they can't do that anymore. So he went to jail when he was 16 years old and got out 40 years to the day later. And when I tell you, this brother said, now, I didn't do what they said I did. He said, well, I did some stuff now. I beat up somebody, but I never touched any woman. And when I look at this brother, one of the things that I absolutely love about this cat is his spirit is not bitter and it's not hostile. He is truly, every time you see him, he's smiling. He always have a kind word for you. People know his background, and when people treat him, it hurts his feelings. He's a good guy. And he's been coming to counseling now since he's been out, and it's been almost 10 years now. And he said, I love and I thank God for my counseling services at Positive Choices. He said, because it helped me get through dealing with the rejection of being a convict. And he said, but now I've been out 10 years. I'm gainfully employed. I'm married now. I purchased a home. He said, I'm happy. I feel like I'm living my life all over again. He did not allow all the negativity that was coming, you know, to impact him and make him bitter and angry. He is a true poster child for positivity and making sure that you stay positive, and it will allow you to be that individual that you want to be. So I don't want anyone that's thinking about, okay, I'm listening to this podcast, so that means I need to start reevaluating my circle. And when you start to eliminate, it's not out of spite. It's not out of anger.
Come on.
It's out of self-improvement.
Come on.
You know what I mean? You know,
everything has a time and a season.
That's right. And you know, I sit here before you as a clinician, and I have my battles. We talked last week when I came on. I had my workout gear, and I said I have an addiction to sugar.
Come on.
I have a true addiction to sugar. So what I'm doing is I'm working on making sure I eat healthy. I'm regular in the gym, and it's not just about doing it, because I do it all the time. But then I stop for 2, 3, 4, 5 months. Now I'm focusing on consistency. I'm not focusing on going to the gym. I'm not focusing on losing weight. I'm focusing on making sure I do these things consistently. So that's going to be my commitment to myself. I eliminate the negativity of the people that I interact with that's not good for me. I have users in my life. I have people that have no problem taking, but have a bunch of stories on why they don't have anything to put in. And we're not talking monetary. You know, I'm talking about a kind word. Hey, good morning. That's all you get. Oh, okay. Okay. So as I take this journey and take all of you with me during 2022, I challenge you to make sure that everything that you do on a daily basis benefits a better you, from eating to the energy you allow to be taken and put back into you. And it's going to call for you to look at some people and say, this may not be the best thing for me.
Right.
This may not be the best thing for me. And I'm going to eliminate that. And wait till you see the backlash, or what they call the pushback. You know, the pushback is going to be, you different. You ain't no better than me. Why does me improving myself make you defensive?
Come on.
Brother Dupree, let's go ahead on and give him a glimpse into the pre-show before we come on the air. I took 5 minutes before we came on the air and told you what. Brother, I'm so proud of you.
Right.
Man, I'm proud of the things you're doing. I'm proud of the path that it looks like you're on, the journey you're taking. I'm proud of you, my brother. There was nothing disingenuous about what I said.
Right.
I meant that.
Right.
So for you to say thank you, man, I appreciate it. It's a struggle. I'm working hard. I'm surrounding myself with people that can, you know, put positivity into me. Keep it up, because it looks good on you. It looks good on you, brother.
I mean, I'm blessed to have good friends like yourself, and I can name many others. You know, what I've come to discover is this: you are what you eat. You are what you eat. You listen. You can fight it all you want to. If junk goes in, junk gonna come out. So you are what you eat, and birds of a feather flock together.
I was about to tell you.
Eagles and chickens don't hang out with each other.
What I say, eagles fly with eagles. Isn't that what I've been saying since last year?
Yes,
Eagles
sir.
don't hang with pigeons. Eagles
That's
don't
it.
fly with pigeons.
Right. And they don't walk around the chicken yard with the chickens. I'm just saying.
So at the end of the day, I tell when I work with young adults or kids, I say, you want me to tell you about you? Introduce me to your friends. Introduce me to your friends, and I can tell you about you in 5 minutes. Now, I'm a professional at what I do. But at the end of the day, we have to know the energy that we've surrounded ourselves with. I always use this example, and I may be telling on myself, and a lot of people have no idea what I'm talking about. But you may, Brother Dupree. You remember the movie The Golden Child?
Oh, yes.
With Eddie
I
Murphy?
want the knife.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
want the knife.
There's a scene in the movie where the lady was telling Eddie Murphy what they were doing to the Golden Child. And she said, because he's so good, they're going to they're going to surround him with evil. And they showed the little boy, he was sitting in the cage, and they had all of these men with their faces painted like evil people.
Right.
And I was like, wow, there's no difference in our normal world. If you surround yourself with negative people, how can you get positivity out of that? How? How can you get positivity out of a bunch of negative? You have to remove yourself, and it's okay to do that. Right. It's okay to remove ourselves and do so without any guilt or remorse. You know, people have a problem choosing themselves, and I may be sitting here being one of those hypocrites, you know, where I found myself many years ago, I had to choose me.
Right.
I had to, you know, because I was not doing as well as I should have been doing. I was around individuals that did not have the same energy I had. So I challenge everyone to look at your circle, look at the energy in your life, and decide, does it make me a better me? And
Correct.
Don't be afraid of what you may find.
Right.
Because you can always do something about
it. And you got to tell folks, you got to be true. Listen, if you can't be truthful with no one else, be truthful to yourself. Be truthful to yourself. To thy own self, be true. You know, and family, understand, just because it's delayed don't mean it's denied. And sometimes just because you gotta walk away don't mean you gotta stay away. Sometimes for a season you got to be at a place where the only person you can get together is yourself. And you got to sometimes be around people who are feeding you what you need to be fed, that you become a better you. Once again, it's hard for you to rise to the top if you in a whole bunch of barrels of crabs and crawfish that are trying to pull you to the bottom. If every time you try to say what you're going to do, see, let me show you something. They do little TikToks about this. Folk be saying stuff like, how you doing in your little job? You know, you got to start listening to these undercover haters in plain sight that are hanging with you, because once again, my theme is simple tonight. Everybody in your circle ain't in your corner. Then you got to start watching out for them folk who really around you, trying to figure out what you doing, how you doing it, who you doing it with, where they can steal your idea and try to regurgitate it with their branding on it, and then all of a sudden make it seem like, you know, one of the funniest things I get lately is how folk want to pick your brain. You know, wait a minute. Hold on. If I get paid, if my ideas make money, no, you're not picking my brain. You trying to cash in on what I'm telling you. So watch this. Something else I am wanting to talk about, and we're gonna have a special broadcast coming up Friday. Keep your eyes on my social media for this. Many a times, other folks will cherry pick the best of us. They will cherry pick the best of us and then inundate us with their ideology to send us to come back and get other ones of us, or to convert us, or to assassinate us. Now, this is a mental health thing. Y'all need to hear what I'm saying here. You got to always ask yourself who, what, and better yet, why.
Why?
See, many a times I'm going to start asking the question, why all of a sudden me?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if you ain't dealt with me, why all of a sudden? See, they send us, and you got to really watch this with some of these movements, the conservative movements where all of a sudden you know that these folks don't mean what's best for people of color, but they got people of color holding up signs saying blacks for this, blacks for that. When all of a sudden, when you meet black folks, like for example, when you meet somebody who's black, like my son, my oldest son, 34 years old, his mother's Caucasian, but his daddy's black. And there's sometimes when my son does certain things, you don't know if he's black or white. You can look at him and you can be like, you can be like, well, you know, and watch this. Trust me, when you in a crowd of folks and certain conversations click off, if they don't think you black, you gonna find out how they really feel about black folk.
Absolutely.
We just had that with a judge. We just had that with a judge.
Right.
So hold it. My new thing is, and people need to wake up and see this. I need you to be who you really are when you don't think nobody's looking, listening, or recording.
Exactly. Loyalty ain't what you do in my face. Loyalty is what you do when I'm not there.
That part.
That's what loyalty is. Loyalty is not how you act when we're around one another. Loyalty is how you act when you're not with me. So one of the things to take what you said, Brother Dupree, and piggyback on that, ask yourself this. If you're doing something that's making you better or empowering you, and people ain't happy for you, be careful about those people. If they're condescending and they're belittling and this is the one that always gets me. They say, I was just joking.
Right.
When they hide their disdain in humor. When they hide it in humor, no. That's really what you're trying to say. You just Muhammad Ali have a quote that say, what he said? My humor is honesty. That's what he said. My humor is honesty. So my thing is, if you're doing all the things like Brother Dupree said, they want to pick your brain. Pick my brain for free? So you pick my brain for free and then go make money off my ideas. It's okay to say no. I have people ask me all the time to participate in committees, you know, to be on this advisory board and this board of directors. And I have to really choose and get more information before I say yes or no. Because I need to know what I'm going to be a part of before I say yes or no. And for me, it has a lot to do with the mission and the people that's involved.
Come on.
You understand? You and I talked about doing this podcast long before we did it.
Right. And it took time for us to formulate ideas. We had to sit down and understand the structure of certain things. Then we had to understand this. Watch this. What happens, and I tell people this all the time, what happens if what you're doing overnight don't catch on?
Yeah.
You know, what happened? Do you have enough self-worth and enough trust in what you do to understand that Rome wasn't built overnight? And are you willing to stick the course until the end? See, here's what I'm saying. I done had some folks hit me with, man, what's up with the Wellness Wednesday? Yeah, I kind of checked it out. It's kind of, that's why. See, I tell people don't love you until the right person love you. People don't love you until the right person love you. See, and they don't know I got a whole bunch of stuff that I'm just holding on to. See, and I laugh because many a times I wind up interviewing, and I consider you a great friend and a big name in when it comes to mental health
Mm-hmm.
counseling.
Mm-hmm.
But let me jump on here and say I'm bringing Iyanla Vanzant on,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I can.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, but here's what my platform always was: to get folks who are folks that are accessible not only to myself, but to everyone. Because I'm not the type person that want to run around and tell you who I know, what I
Correct.
know. I want
Correct.
everybody to know them. I want
Correct.
everybody to win. See, that's another thing you need to start checking out. Check out folks who only want them to win and everybody else is kind of like a byproduct of their winning. No, I want everybody to win, even if I don't benefit from it.
Correct. Correct. We have a tendency, again, for me, I don't need anybody to tell me that, oh, well, I know I'm a great therapist. You can
Right.
ask me formula for rocket fuel, I start sweating. But if you ask me about therapy and counseling and human behavior, that's like a fish in water for me. I know whoever I'm sitting down talking to, I feel comfortable.
Right.
Because I know what I'm talking about. I know that. Again, I may not know about how to fix a carburetor, and I may not know, but if you want to know more treatment modalities, how to address certain human behaviors, that's what we do at Positive Choices. It doesn't say Positive Choices Counseling Services and Things. That's all it says. Positive
Right.
Choice Counseling Services. That's it. That's all we do. It's counseling. If you looking for culinary tricks in the kitchen, we don't do that. If you looking for how, you got problems with your left foot and it hurt. Now, all of those things, we can direct you to people.
Come on.
We can refer you to those folks, but that ain't what we do. So, we had a conversation the other day, and I told her, just because you got pots don't make you a chef.
Come on. That's the point.
We're highly trained. We're highly trained at what we do. And if we cannot provide a particular service, I bet my 30+ year career in the field of mental health, I can get you where you need to be.
Correct.
So
you ain't the folks that say this. Well, man, how do you know that? Well, last night I stayed in a Holiday Inn Express. No, you ain't
right.
that dude.
Exactly. I stayed in the Holiday Inn Express last night.
It is what I tell folk. I had to laughingly tell somebody else this too. I understand, and a lot of folks, let me get this off my chest because we're going to go a little bit over tonight. Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Ooh.
I tell folk all the time, the worst thing to do is to be jealous of or try to do something that you wasn't called to do.
That's right.
See, now listen to what I just said. Because some of you folk out there, y'all supposedly live in the scriptures 24/7. So understand this. If you wasn't called to do it, you might need to let who was called to do it because you don't know the weight that some of this stuff carries once you try to put yourself into it. So, like I tell folks, a lot of people want the glory, but they don't know the whole story.
That's right. Well, they say they want our rhythm, but they don't want our blues.
Right. So you don't know the sleepless nights, the almost bankrupt. You don't know the how many times that all you do. I had a person right now. I'll give you a prime example. I'll make you laugh. I'm getting the opportunity to be a part of a very well-known TV series. Mm-hmm. I'm actually going to be probably in about 2 or 3 episodes. We're working on everything right now. And a person started catching a whiff of it and saw some pictures I had posted with somebody and said, I figured it out. And I told him, I said, no, you ain't figured nothing out. I said, hey, I ain't nobody. And if I do show up, it's only going to be for 5-6 seconds.
Right.
I said, and I don't know what door that's going to open or what door that's not going to open. But that's not for me because I'm going to be me regardless if the door opens or not. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, what we got to stop doing is this. Well, how I get in? Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Guess what?
That's your thing.
Hold it. There are folks I done seen swindle, weasel, lie, piggyback, hijack, and do everything just to get this so-called thing called popularity. Where not understanding what I've have learned, and I learned this from you, my brother. You taught me a very valuable lesson in our friendship. Folk that don't like you, they still ain't gonna like you if you get everything.
No
if
matter
you get
what
the money,
they
if
gonna
you
like
get the money, the house,
They
the
ain't gonna like
lady, if they still go.
They ain't
Well,
gonna
let me tell you about how he used to be.
They ain't
You
gonna
know,
like
right. So guess what? Stop trying to make other folk happy and find your sweet spot and make yourself happy.
and be all right with being happy.
Right.
Be all right with being where you are.
As you say, in 22, it's all about you.
All about you. Be okay with where you are. If that's your wave. I tell people when I'm having them in sessions, behavior is like a wave. It goes up, you're gonna have the low valleys, and you're gonna have the top. What in an ideal world happens is you have more riding of the top than you do in the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's gonna be some bottoms, but let's try to make the time at the bottom much shorter than at the top and be okay. There's a lot of people that's not okay with being happy. Like I said, they feel guilty. Maybe I shouldn't be, what's wrong with it? Man, it's okay to be happy. My staff, and I'm not ashamed to say I have to laugh. I had some staff many years ago, and they used to say, man, the doc be in there having conversations with himself. They said he'll be in there laughing, he'll be talking, and I'm like, well, it's okay to be happy and in a good mood. I don't feel any guilt about that. What is for you is for you. And it's okay if you make the decision, this is not for me. It's okay.
Amen.
It's
Amen.
okay.
Because as we said at the beginning of the show, everybody in your circle
ain't in your corner.
Right. They're not rooting for you
That's
to be
right.
the best you can be for you. Listen to this. Some people only want you to be the best you can be to benefit them.
It benefits.
But people who really genuinely love and care about you, they want you to be the best you for you if it doesn't benefit them one bit.
Well,
and with that being said,
to be okay. You got to be okay with that.
Let me remind y'all that if y'all are in a mental health crisis situation and you need someone to talk to before you feel like there is no hope, definitely get with my brother. Let me put this up here where you can know where to go. Go to Positive Choices Counseling Services, positivechoicescounseling.org. Family, I couldn't say this any better. We got people out there that look like us who are as intelligent, if not more intelligent, than folks who don't look like us. We have people who look like us, who can help you, who can heal you, who can get your life together. I don't have a problem with folks who don't look like us, but I do have a problem when people make it seem like those who look like us are giving you substandard service. Because we have people who give great service. They do a great job. They're great doctors. They are great counselors. They are great clinicians. They are great at what they do. And had it not been for them, the people sometimes that they work for who don't look like us wouldn't have the great practices that they have.
Amen.
So family, all I'm saying is, I'm not telling you now I'm in a new place in 22. I'm betting on black every time I get anywhere. Now, just because I'm betting on black don't mean I'm anti-white, but just know I'm betting on black every time I sit down. And with that being,
you anti-white.
Right. So I'm just saying, I want to give someone who is qualified and certified, who looks like me, the opportunity to help me be a better me through what they have learned by becoming a counselor and with mental health. So that's all I'm saying. With that being said, check out the website. They have 3 locations in Louisiana: Vidalia, Jonesville, and Lafayette. My brother, I'm gonna let you close this out, man.
Hey, man, real brief, real quick. It's okay to choose you. And I challenge everybody to take a minute. If you look in the mirror and you stare in the mirror, and after a few seconds you just don't have to smile and laugh at yourself, then you may need to reevaluate the energy. It's okay to choose you and have no remorse and no guilt about it. Until we see each other again, Brother Dupree, it's always an honor to share this podcast with you. And it's also an honor for me to say, I'm so proud of this brother and the things that he's doing. He is definitely a blueprint for what we need to be doing as a people, supporting one another, uplifting one another, exchanging positive energy. So again, I'm happy to be a part of this with you, Brother Dupree, and anybody that needs any type of mental health services, please, positivechoicescounseling.org. Positivechoicescounseling.org, and we look forward to servicing you.
That's it, family. So look, God bless. Always remember that your mental health matters, and a healthy you is a better you. We up out. We'll catch you next Wednesday with more great conversation right here on Wellness Wednesday. We love y'all, and you can't do nothing about it. We out of here. Peace.